Hi, I am Ginna Foster Cannon, the Director of Cultural and Heritage Tourism here for Rutherford County. Here is a photo of one of the public murals, and that's in the Smyrna Historic District, Depot District. I started 3 months ago. It's a new job for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we're part of the chamber. And what I focus on is cultural and heritage tourism. And people always say, what is cultural and heritage tourism? So I've put up some definitions. It's really about creating authentic experiences, focused on people, places, artifacts, and activities. And they're both of the past and the present. I don't know about you, but I find that sometimes history alone can be a little dusty. That the idea of cultural heritage tourism really appeals to me about the way that I like to be a tourist. It's a little bit of shopping, a little bit of eating, a little bit of history, a little bit of arts, and it's really taking in the flavor of the place. So I am positive, and I really am, because somebody said to me, Ginna, what is your hobby? And I say, well, it's going to these sorts of things. They're like, that's your job. But I was like, but that's what I love to do. Like this last weekend, my husband and I went up to Louisville. And on the way, we got to stop at the Corvette Museum. And then when we were there, we went out to eat and then looked around the 21C Hotel Museum, which has arts. And then we went to the Muhammad Ali Center and got a little bit of social justice and history and the richness of Louisville and really international impact. And then on the way home, we stopped at the National Park for Abraham Lincoln's birth site. And I picked up one of those passports. So now I'm going to go around and get the stamps from, so it's really an invitation to go learn more. So this is what the National Trust says about cultural heritage tourism. I find this earlier definition very helpful as well, because it goes into some of the other facets of what cultural heritage tourism is. It's about diversity, creativity, history, and it's about museums, historic sites, dance, music, theater, books, other festivals, historic buildings, arts and crafts fairs, neighborhoods, and landscapes. And you sort of say, what is a landscape? It can be the beauty of Murfreesboro Historic Square and walking down East Main. It can be going to MTSU and absorbing the history from where it started as a teacher's college and now has all of these different PhD programs and is now, the largest undergrad public institution in the state. It can also be the beauty of the natural landscape. And here in Rutherford, we have such strong roots in agriculture. And then as we're growing, I heard Mayor Ketron say that we have about 400,000 people here in Rutherford County now. And by 2035, they're expecting to have another 200,000 people. So one of my biggest goals is how can we get everybody in the community to not only see what we have, but to protect it today and going forward. I think the biggest travesty would be if we became one big strip mall. And if we're adding double the amount of people in the next few years, we really need to actively plan for those people and to protect what we have, because we have so much. So what do I do as the Director of Cultural Heritage Tourism? Well, first of all, I get to go out and talk to lots of people. And for me, that's really one of the most fun things, which is to get to spread the love and the joy and really to spread the word of what is here. Because I think that people are really surprised when they say, well, what do you do in cultural heritage tourism? I get to work with the 7 museums around town. Around the whole county. I get to go to lots of festivals. I have an 8-year-old named Lolly, and she says to me, Mom, it's Saturday. Are we doing the Richness of Rutherford? And I said, we are. So, pack her in the car, and we will go to an archaeology meeting at the Heritage Center. And then we might go over to, she didn't go with me that day, but I went to Short Mountain Distillery, which is in another county, but the way we see it is we're funded by the hotel taxes. So we want people to stay in Rutherford, and if they do the hub and spoke, that's a beautiful thing too. So we're really celebrating the region, Ian. So we're not as specific about the borders, although of course we love to promote our local events. And so then I work with the festivals. And so Uncle Dave Macon is one of our largest ones. It brings in over $1 million in economic impact. Economic impact is a beautiful thing. It adds more money to the economy, and a tourist is a beautiful dollar to come in. Each person who, for property taxes, it's about $250, give or take, that is offset by tourist dollars. So that's some serious scratch, just to use a little term. Okay, so where is Rutherford County in terms of tourism? We have the ninth largest economic impact within the state. It brings in $351 million in 2017, 2,790 jobs, and we had 2.13 million visitors, up 7.4%. And just compare that, the national average is 2.6. So people are interested, and we want to offer them even more. Traditionally, Rutherford County has really focused on its sports tourism. We are the sports capital of Tennessee, trademarked. And when I say that, what it means is we have a lot of tournaments. You've probably noticed when it gets really busy, and we have the TSSAA, which is the Tennessee Secondary Sports Association, come to town. So we hosted the girls volleyball here a few weeks ago. And in the spring, we have track and field and about 5 other events all happening at once. So that's a really great opportunity. We've also been very big into tours, conferences, and Civil War. And so with bringing me in, it's sort of how do we highlight our cultural heritage tourism and get everyone to work together and to feature when somebody comes into town, show them the rich variety of things that are here. What is it? Natural beauty, rich history, vibrant art scene. Did you know that they did an arts vibrancy study with SMU within the last 6 months? And we partnered with Nashville and Franklin, so that's Davidson, Williamson, and Rutherford. And the 3 of us together as a unit made us the 4th largest arts vibrancy community in the U.S. So that's pretty impressive. And when you look around Rutherford, can you say we are arts? I think that that's something we really need to work on. And we're working on building a nonprofit to really highlight our arts focus. Because you can see pockets of it, but there's not a place where you go, we are an arts community. For example, I think that murals do a great job in highlighting that. Music festivals like the Art Crawl. There's many different expressions of it, but it will be great for all of us to be working together to have a physical manifestation that we can point people to and say, yes, we are arts. So in 2015, the CVB, that's the Convention and Visitors Bureau for whom I work, did a survey, and they asked people, what do you do when you're in Rutherford? Dining, driving and sightseeing, shopping, museum, historic home, Civil War, outdoor recreation, other Tennessee attractions, so that's outside of Rutherford County, and antique shopping. So what this chart says to me is sort of why cultural heritage tourism. It's people like to do a variety of things. They may come for a single purpose, which is to visit MTSU or to go to Stones River. But if you can show them what else is here, they will spend dollars here, they will enjoy it, they will have an authentic experience that they'll go tell others about, and they'll come back themselves. So I have a slightly unusual role. Traditionally, Convention and Visitors Bureau. You would think that I'm only interested in tourists. And a tourist is defined as somebody who's comes from more than 50 miles away. Well, I see my role as looking at the tourist, the day tripper. Think of all those people coming to Nashville. Do we not want them to come here and visit? Everyone's looking for sort of a backroads experience. And if you look at what the state's doing, they're really encouraging that with the different trails and byways. There's I believe it's 14 trails and byways. And where do you get the real experiences? It's not a packaged experience, it's going up and meeting you. And you telling me, like, oh, my favorite place to get coffee is down the street. Or if you want a really great pie, go to Borough Cakes. They have wonderful chess pie. And when you're there, you can see the local art on the murals. And then you can walk around the square. And then, wait, what else are you interested in? Oh, okay. Well, we have Earth Experience, which I think of colloquially as the Dino Museum. And that's a great resource. And that gets over 10,000 people visiting every year. So that's really big numbers. And then we have Oaklands. We have Sam Davis Home. We have MTSU with their Centers of Excellence. Have any of you visited at MTSU the Center for Chinese Music and Culture? It's fantastic. It's on Bell Street. It's easy public parking. I think some other places on MTSU campus you can't say has easy parking, but that place does. And you go in there and they have the exhibits. And this is a world-class institution that I think that very few people know about. And it's one of those hidden gems that really makes who and what we are diverse and wonderful and enriching, and that we all need to take advantage of what's here, because the more visitors that go into these different institutions and support it, if I'm applying for a grant, for example, would you want to support an institution that has 10,000 people coming or 20? I think the answer is 20. So the more we can get up numbers, we help them with funding their grants, with writing their grants, because they've got better visitors. If it has a gate fee, we put more money into the museum so they can hire more people, work on new exhibits. That's a beautiful thing. If we invest in them, then we will get our kids excited about what is here. So in 15, 20 years, when they go through and they are voting and they are getting on boards and they are looking at what is important for our own children and the enrichment for school programs, they're going to say, we have a lot right here and we want to make sure that it remains integral to who and what we are and how we think about ourselves.
Do you book events?
Excuse me?
Do you book events?
Do I book events? Tell me a little bit more.
Well, how'd you end up here? For one thing.
Oh, yes. Well, I do presentations all around talking about the richness of Rutherford. So Kathy called me up and said, would you like to do a presentation? And the answer is, as I said, I'm a bit of a ham. The answer is always yes. I love to tell people about Rutherford. I am so passionate about what we have here. And so I also did one at the Downtown Murfreesboro Business Association, for example. Or we have a partners group for the CVB, which is called CVB Connect. So I did it there my first week I got here. And then the hospitality group, I went and told them about it. It's really spreading the word about what we have and how we can leverage what we have and enjoy it that much more. If we have something creative inside us, and I think of cultural heritage tourism as really part of the creative process, we want other people to share what we love and to spread the joy that comes from it. And that's what I see professional clowns do as well.
We're also singers.
And singers. Okay, so what are some of the variety? Just to give you a little sample of some of the places I've been since I started 3 months ago. Oakland's. This is the MTSU Center for Chinese Music and Culture, and they do a big festival sort of in the winter, spring for 6 weeks. This is Sam Davis, and they do a little bit of living history. The Square, this is when I was at Puckett's. People love food, so I've been doing a lot of food posts. That is part of the culture, which is unique to who and what we are. Stones River, Bradley Academy and Cultural Museum. This is Al Rayan, which it's Middle Eastern and it just has delectable food. A particularly good lunch buffet. That was my plate. I was really enjoying it. This is the Discovery Center. Some of the shops in the square that are locally owned. Cannonsburg. This is part of Hearts of Rutherford, which is part of the Arts Crawl and also celebrating the Murfreesboro Loves. And this is in Laverne. This is my daughter and one of our Richness of Rutherford events, the opening of the Greenway. And this log cabin has significance for Trail of Tears. So how can I work with all of you to best leverage what we know about cultural heritage tourism, which is becoming stewards of cultural heritage tourism? And what does it really mean to be a steward? Well, today, literally today, it means going to the Parks and Rec meeting at Patterson. And they're hosting an open house on sort of the master plan going forward. And if people who love the outdoors, the greenways, the natural beauty, they love the history, they love the arts, the more voices that are inputting into who and what Parks and Recs does, in addition to St. Clair's, that's really important to have a voice and to help shape the direction of what we do here in Murfreesboro. What else can you do? You can be a tourist in your own town. So worked with Nancy over at the DNJ of putting together a list of hidden gems in Rutherford. And so there was an article on being a tourist in your own town. And that's in addition to the tourists 50 miles or more, the day trippers maybe coming from Williamson, Nashville, or south. There's also the community element, which is for all of us to know who and what we are by experiencing the diversity and the wealth of what's surrounding us. We have, the CVB has a calendar of events, and it's at visitrutherfordtn.com. If you guys are big Facebookers, we also have we load up the events on our Facebook page. Consider getting an annual membership at one of the 7 local museums, or shop at museum gift shops. So for example, we're doing blogs, and so it's basically like a little article with lots of pictures to sort of make something seem cool and neat. And one of the ones I recently worked on is the museum gift guides. So there's different things that you can get at these museum gift shops. So you're shopping local, you're supporting the museum, and as I said to one of my colleagues, you can take a little me time and you can go visit the museum. And she goes, Ginna, I don't know if most people would call that me time. And for me, I was like, oh my God, I would love to, have the excuse to, spend a half an hour, spend an hour, spend an hour and a half, spend a day really learning more. Because each time I go to one of these institutions, I get a richer understanding. And that's one of the things that we learn when we look at the research for museums and how people learn. It's called like the snowball effect, that you have to give people a little bit of knowledge, and each little bit of knowledge can build more knowledge on top of that. So these are places that have a lot to teach us. Promote it to your personal and professional networks. How else can you help us create these authentic in you? Be in the know. Personal recommendations. I don't know about you, but I know that I would much rather go to a restaurant or a location or something if somebody says, hey, that's really great. I went last year. That will always weigh about 10 times heavier than reading it in a tour book or seeing an advertisement. We will promote other venues that are owned by the city, part of Parks and Recs, like Cannonsburg Village. We bring lots of tour groups there. We go to their special events. We promote them on our website and on our Facebook page and our other social media channels and in our newsletters. And then there's also Bradley Academy, and then the Greenways. And then there's wonderful overlaps like the arts festivals on the Greenway. That's a great way to get lots of people involved. And no matter their interest, when you cross over and cross promote and work together, so much more can happen. So what do? We promote attractions, and we really celebrate the diversity and richness of Rutherford. What are my goals when it comes down to it? It's increasing tourism. It's bringing more money to the county. It's making the quality of life even better for the people who live here. You may have seen the Money study. It came out maybe 6 weeks ago, and it ranked Murfreesboro as the 19th best place in terms of livability to live in the nation. That's pretty impressive. That's really based on our cultural heritage tourism. It's based on our good school system. It's based on prices of housing. It's a whole package, but definitely the cool factor and the things you can do when around here, that's very important. What else? It's to strengthen, build, and protect our cultural heritage assets, and it's to heighten the awareness of the richness of Rutherford that's foundational to who and what we are. So here are just Clearview, if you've been there, which is a delicious restaurant. It's a meat and three, not far from here. This is the party that Main Street had over the summer, which was a beautiful gathering. This is the Earth Experience Museum, which I sort of call the Dino Museum. And this is Sam Davis. And we'll see if we can do the promotional video, which we just put out about a week ago. And so this is my contact information and a silly photo taken at Lucky Lads Farm in my first week of being here, but really represents to me what is happening in Rutherford County. Most people think of Lucky Lads as a pumpkin farm, and right now it's been named as one of the best pumpkin farms in the U.S. But it also does a corn festival and princess things and things through a big portion of the year. So I welcome you to come and discover the richness of Rutherford for yourself. Thank you so much.